Well, you know, I guess things went according to plan, right? Or to some degree. Utah Jazz drop another one. This one was a banger. And by banger, I do mean we got our heads banged against the wall. That's what I mean by banger, right? Definitely not our finest outing by any stretch of the imagination. 96 to 113 against the Sacramento Kings. Exactly how I wanted to spend, a Tuesday evening. Yeah. I am resisting very strong bias right now because I had money on the game or on certain aspects of the game. And needless to say, none of them hit. But that's what makes gambling so fun. That's why it's not recommended to children, right? Definitely not. We'll start with the Kings. We'll give them their due praise. You know, Obviously they pulled their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter, but DeMar DeRozan 9 of 14 from the field. Keegan Murray 6 of 14 from the field. We did hold him to 2 of 7 from 3 point range though. Um, uh, Silver lining, I guess. Demontis Sabonis worked us 13 of 18 from the field, 1 of 2 from three. Also had 11 rebounds, 4 assists. On a side note, DeMar DeRozan had 4 boards and 8 assists, and Keegan Murray had 5 boards. Kevin Herter even had 5 boards himself, shooting 6 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from three. And then you had De'Aaron Fox, 8 of 16 from the field, and 1 of 2 from 3 point range, 5 boards, 6 assists. 2 starters with 20 plus, all starters with double figures. Nobody on their starting lineup scored less than 14. So there's that. Off the bench, Malik Monk was their most notable piece. He was, however, held to 2 of 11 shooting, 2 of 8 from three, had 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 4 boards. He was definitely on my parlay, and he was the only one that got strapped. So, I mean, considering the fact that we held them to 48 of 92 shooting from the field, 52%, and the 8 of 31 for 3 point range is pretty solid, though. Um, they are never really a high 3 point volume shooting team, so there's that to it, but at the same time, still very pleasurable to see. Moving on to us. Obviously, we're on the back half of a back to back, right? The fatigue set in. We're feeling some sort of way about injuries that were sustained yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta play it out. Chris, you said 0-4 is painful? Absolutely. Absolutely. Um Chris, you said our tank is going good. Oh, it's going fabulous. Uh, you know, Colin Sexton lost his starting spot. Um, to Jordan Clarkson, who shot surprisingly decent from the field today. Um, why Colin Sexton lost his starting spot after going 9 of 11 from the field last game, not really sure. But in 18 minutes, he could not buy a bucket. Brother was 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3 point range. He was 4 of 4 from the free throw line, but he had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 turnovers. So if there's any bad game of the season, any terrible Colin Sexton game, this would be that game. Hopefully it doesn't get worse than this, though. But you never know. You know what I'm saying? We've been surprised. I've been very pleasantly surprised by so many things so far. And we're only, 4 games in now? 0-4? Yeah. Lowry only played 17 and a half minutes, 3 of 5 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3 point range, 3 boards, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 7 points. Cody Williams, in about 30 minutes of action, this was a very sizable sample size of him. Obviously, he did get the start in the stead of the one Taylor Hendricks. In his 30 minutes, 3 of 7 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3 point range, which was encouraging. 2 assists, 2 steals, only 1 turnover, total of 9 points. Box score plus minus was a -11, but then again, all the starters was negative. Walker was in 26 minutes of action. He was 2 of 3 from the field. He did have 8 rebounds, 2 being offensive. He had 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and only 1 turnover, you know? Um, Jordan Clarkson, I guess he by default gets our MVP of the game award. 8 of 16 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, which isn't great, but 3 of 3 from the free throw line, had 5 boards, had 3 assists, only had 1 turnover, which is very, very good for him. Team leading 21 points, but his box score plus minus was a negative 15, which was the second worst on the team. So take the good with the bad, you know. We had what's his name? We had Keontae George in 31 minutes, still not shooting anywhere near league average, still shooting in the 20 percentile, the 20%. 3 of 13 from the field, 23% from the field, 2 of 10 from 3, obviously 20%. He did hit both of his free throws, had 4 rebounds, did have 11 assists. There was 4 turnovers involved, but you know, it's still above that's almost a 2.5 to 1 ratio from the assist to turnover ratio. Total of 10 points. He had the best box score plus minus out of all the starters at a -6. So there's that. Obviously, we talked about Colin Sexton already. John Collins was probably our most reliable piece off of the bench. You know what? I said Jordan Clarkson gets our MVP, but Kyle Filipowski made a sneaky case. Obviously, it didn't matter, but you know, John Collins in 23 minutes exactly, 7 of 16 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. He had 7 rebounds, 4 being offensive. He had a steal, a block, 2 turnovers, 18 points, which was the most off the bench, and also the team worst box score plus minus at a -18. Kyle Filipowski, though, in his 25 minutes, which I loved being able to actually see him out there. That was the one bright spot for me personally. He was 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. He did miss both of his free throws, but he had 8 rebounds, with 2 of them being offensive to go along with 2 assists, 1 steal, and only 2 turnovers. Total of 12 points, which was the second most off the bench, and the best box score plus minus off the bench, with the exception of Drew Eubanks, at a -7. Patty Mills played his 17 minutes, didn't score, but had 1 rebound and a steal and a block. Bryce Sensabaugh had a pretty surprisingly good game shooting from the field. I do want to go ahead and heap on a little bit of praise for him because he's not going to get a significant amount of opportunities this season to make sizable contributions. So in this 16-minute span, him being able to go 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3 was really impressive. It showed that he does have the ability to be extremely efficient in a game. Even though this one wasn't the type of game you would love to see the efficiency in, you'd like to see it in games against teams that are either well above us or a game that we're really in a tight window and he still produces at the same rate. But it's still positive to see, you know what I'm saying? 3 rebounds, 1 assist, had 1 turnover, 11 points, and box score plus minus was the best in the game actually at a positive 13. Then you had Johnny going 0 of 2 from the field, both of them obviously being 3-pointers. He had a steal and no turnovers, box score plus minus of a -8. And then lastly, Drew Eubanks in his 4.5 minutes missed the 1 shot that he took, but he did have 1 rebound, 1 assist, and a box score plus minus was the second best on the team at a +9. By the way, overall as a team, we shot 35 of 89, which is 39% from the field, and then 14 of 48, which is 29.2% from the field. Those are the numbers. I just had to roll through those real quick. Keontae bust. They're definitely trying to force feed him something, and he's not taking well to it. I'm not gonna lie, Tate, not at all. Logic, you said just going to agree with Incognito when he shows up. Yeah. Glad to see Cody finally make a jumper. Yeah, I was getting a little bit nervous. I didn't want to call it out. I wanted to give him about 10 games to make some sort of sizable contribution. And 3 of 6 from 3 is a pretty solid sample size to work from, especially 30 minutes of action. Also seeing how he's going to be defensively despite his lack of overall weight. The length was there and everything like that. So promising things out of him. I hit my parlay and over 21.5. Clay over under 3.5 threes. Hey, you a better man than me. I turned nothing. We said, Incognito said, let's have a real conversation about Will Hardy and Colin Sexton. I don't even know. For reference, I took Colin Sexton over 25 points, rebounds, assists. As soon as I saw he wasn't starting, I knew I was cooked. And then when he started missing shots, I knew I was more cooked. Any hope I had was gone at halftime. We said the tank continues 0-82. Car wash, you already know. We're fried. The tank is going wonderfully on a side note. As wonderful as you could hope it goes, I guess. Tayton, you said Hendricks out, Lowry out, Sexton got demoted. Our team was already cheeks, but we don't need 3 starters not starting. Absolutely. But if you need a reason to not win, we were just given that reason. You said, I think tonight kind of broke him. He looked dejected and quite frankly just sick of it. An amazing game last night to get benched tonight. Yeah, heck of a way to go out. If there was like any level of him hampering him looking injured overall, I would be like, it makes sense to play Sexton a little bit less, but to just not start him at all is kind of egregious to me. Yes, I know Jordan Clarkson needs a boost in minutes and also just to showcase what he is so that we could trade him sooner than later and get him on a different team. But at this point, if we're just going to keep throwing Colin Sexton in the washing machine and just where he lands is where he lands when we open it up, send him somewhere. Let somebody else at least give him a consistent home, because if this is something that we're going to see up and down, it's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable basketball to watch. I've seen us lose games, and I've seen us lose games like this where it's just like, bro, what are we doing? And this felt like one of those games where it's like I'm scratching my head the whole time. I'm not enjoying it. When Colin Sexton isn't like engaged and like mentally, it just looks like he's defeated. It's a much less enjoyable game to see because he's that energizer bunny for the squad. It'd be kind of like if you were watching the prime of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then Russell Westbrook was just like glum the whole game. It wouldn't make sense to you, and quite frankly, you would probably hate the money you spent to go watch that game, because the energizer bunny, the heart and soul of that roster was Russell Westbrook. Here, the heart and soul, the energy filler is always going to be Colin Sexton, especially until Keontae George really starts hitting his stride, assuming there's a stride to hit. Now, benefit of the doubt, when he reaches that point, I think people will take more and galvanize around him. But before that happens, we're looking at Colin Sexton just leave it out there for us, and we're not getting any positives, not getting the appreciation that I feel, at least. 0-4 bad record. Yup. It was good, Blizzard. We said, I know if Kessler had a better point guard, he easily averaged 15 and 10. Yeah. Kessler in this one only attempted 3 shots. I want some more shots out of him. But overall, I liked it. 2 blocks, 8 boards, 2 of them being offensive. He had 2 assists, which is probably going to be the high for him. Most nights on any given night, I wouldn't expect him to get more than 2, honestly, assists at all. Obviously, DHOs will help him over the length of the season, but it's not going to make any like sizable difference overall. Might as well hang with y'all tonight. Hey, we're here, man. Take the L, move on. That's all we can do, Eugene. You're right. Do you think we could beat the Spurs on Thursday? No, absolutely not. Especially if we're going to roll out lineups like this, I don't see it happening at all. Victor Wembanyama is going to make it. See, I'll say this, right? In the Spurs versus Jazz game, I will not be looking for us to win. I will not be looking for an extremely competitive game. I will be looking at the Walker Kessler versus Victor Wembanyama dynamic. Will Hardy have Walker out there on Wemby, knowing that Wemby will roam on the perimeter? And if so, how will Walker respond to it? Will he get exploited by the basketball savvy that Chris Paul has, or will he be able to show us a different iteration of his defense and take another step forward? I'm not expecting him to, poster Wemby 6 times in the game, but if he gets some real strong-bodied contact at the rim and gets a couple of those to go, that would, in my opinion, be an improvement, because I think most people would say you'd rather have Victor Wembanyama than Walker Kessler on your team. But how big is the overall gap? Not just from talent, but how do their skill sets match up against one another, if that makes sense. Never seen him look like this. To go from yesterday's performance to this messed him up mentally. I can't even critique. Yeah, Hardy's not good. It's not how you buy him from your players. If you lose Sexton mentally, you got a problem. He's locked in. The thing is, like I thought in my head, right? Hardy is a good coach, objectively. I've seen him do things with rosters that other coaches would have hated to have. The issue is we have games like this where I genuinely cannot fathom what he's doing. I don't understand the game plan. I don't understand what we're going through. I don't understand the mental dialogue or what the coaching staff in the front office talks about before games like this, where we just roll out this type of lineup. Now, maybe you say, okay, the Kings is a winnable game for us. So we need to make sure we don't, end up in the game super early on, right? Maybe you say, okay, Jordan Clarkson needs extra minutes, but why do you take the guy who shot the most efficient last game, sit him on the bench? Confidence out the window. Because, like, at that point, if you can play that well and still get benched, how expendable do you feel? You feel ridiculously expendable. You don't feel appreciated at all because they're basically saying it doesn't really matter how good you are or how great the numbers look on paper. It's not enough for us. And I think that's the part that burns me the most. Because, like, especially looking at his numbers from last year and hoping that he would have an opportunity to showcase himself this year and continue on that trend and actually gain some respect because it becomes tiring from me. You can find out very quickly how much basketball savvy a random person has if you ask them where if Colin Sexton was played at the point guard spot, where would you rank him in the league as far as point guards go, right? Now, I'm going to obviously highball him because I watch a lot of his tape compared to a lot of other people. But if you were to sit there and say, oh, he belongs at the very bottom, he's a bottom five, he would be a bottom five point guard, I would say it's objectively incorrect. The numbers from last year would agree with me on that. But when you have games like this where he gets just randomly thrown to the bench and then he also ends up shooting 0 of 7, right? That doesn't help push any agenda except we told you so. He's not like that. And it's like, it's not the case. But, they're, Lowry and Colin Sexton are winners. Well, they've never been on a team where the goal was, to get the job done. Since they came to Utah, it's been losing, more losing, hoping you lose more and then not losing as much as you need to. So you need to lose some more next game. And hopefully this is the last year we have to watch this. This is the tank year. I understand why we feel that it's necessary to tank, but if this year, say you tank your bottom 3, bottom 4, and you end up with pick 7, please don't take next year. I don't care how good the Boozer twins are or anybody else in the next year's draft class. I don't want to watch poor basketball. I want to watch the best product we can roll out there every single night. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. I'm ready to live and die by that decision. But these games make me hate tanking, right? There's competitive losses where who was it that we played the other day? Where things were really down to the wire. Everything wasn't perfect, of course, but by all things considered, it was a close game. It was an enjoyable game to watch for the most part. Those are the type of losses I can accept, even if there's a lot of them. Because it's gonna be like, dang, we're losing all these tight ones, but it's like, at least we're in these games. At least there is something positive to take from it. This game, I'm looking at Cody Williams and Kyle Filipowski saying, you guys were the best eye catchers to me. Yes, Jordan Clarkson shot his 8 of 16, but we know what Jordan Clarkson is, right? We know when he's going to go off. Ironically enough, he was one of the only pieces on my parlay that did hit, but the other piece didn't hit, so it didn't matter. But, like, it's just the little things sometimes. It's just little things. Our young guys need to develop, and we need to see that this year. Yeah, that's true. That's why I say the one thing that did come out of this one was Kyle and Cody getting a very sizable amount of minutes, right? Like Kyle going from playing like 4 to 10 minutes on a nightly basis, going all the way up to 25. It's a pretty big jump. That's a very sizable amount of film to go over in days off that you guys have going forward. To see what he's actually capable of, how much he remembers certain plays, what he's comfortable doing, what he's not comfortable doing, both offensively and defensively, of course. Just things like that. Similarly with Cody Williams, but obviously Cody was getting more minutes than him, clearly. But him being able to get thrust in the starting role, he played the second most minutes out of the starters, right behind Key, like literally 37 seconds less. So, I mean, gotta love it for those guys. Having the ability to see them out there. I just wish there were some more positive circumstances to yield along from it. 8 assists from George. I'm still not impressed. Not a PG. All the expensive best real point guard. Yeah. His lovely the 11-4 isn't bad. Don't get it twisted. The 11-4 I'm appreciative of. It shows growth, right? He's definitely night and day a better passer than he was last year. But when we're talking about this is our guy, this is our point guard of the future, right? Point guards make decisive decisions. We have, you know what? Let me pull up these numbers before I mislead you guys right here with some propaganda, some Chris Paul propaganda at that. I'll tell you guys right now. Chris Paul against the Mavericks, first game of the season, 1 of 6 from the field, 3 points, 1 of 4 from 3-point range, by the way, had 7 boards, 8 assists, right? That's impact. Despite poor shooting, he didn't overshoot the ball. He didn't go shot for shot with Victor Wembanyama. He controlled the floor and he did what he could in the time that he had. Only 29 minutes of action too, so pretty comparable to what Keontae's had, right? Against the Rockets, 3 points, only took 3 field goals that game, 1 of 3 from the field. Didn't have any rebounds, had 9 assists, right? Floor general type action. Again, against the Rockets. Oh, okay. Against the Rockets, 16 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 3 or 4 from 3-point range. That was an offensive explosion for him from a shot making standpoint. And then because of that, he also had less assists, but he was efficient with what he did. So it made sense. He had 1 rebound, 3 assists, a steal. He's had a steal in every game, right? You shouldn't be getting outplayed by 39, almost 40-year-old Chris Paul. He is more cerebral, obviously, but the intellect required to run the point guard spot at the NBA level is the most concerning part about Keontae George's game, because you can give somebody a bag, but if they don't know what to do with it, then it's kind of useless. It's like giving somebody a toolkit. Like, yeah, if I sit a random 25-year-old in front of a car and they just roll out a whole workbench, there's tools there, but if he doesn't have the brain cells to put together what he needs to do or figure out what the problem is with the car, how to fix the problem with the car, and then make it run properly, it's pointless. You just taught him a whole bunch of nothing. You just provided him with a whole lot of nothing. There's nothing to be gained from that. And with Keontae, I'm not seeing the intellect come with it, right? The plays are definitely helping him a little bit, not gonna lie. But the overall getting the job done, I'm not bought in on yet. 3 of assists were garbage. Our future looks hopeless. These injuries are biting me. I want to see Isaiah Collier. Let me see some Isaiah Collier. You know, when he comes back, maybe I'll feel a lot better. Lee's here. He said this team hurts my face. I want to sleep face down. Me too. I want to say something constructive, but all I can think of is say, hey, you took words out of my mouth. I had some very selective slander I was gonna push, but I was like, I pride myself on being non-biased, and just because I decided to put money on this game for the second game in a row, and I am unhappy with my results, I can't talk trash because that would be poor media. I mean, there's enough poor media out there. I don't want to join them. But at the same time, this game was objectively not what we would want to see. Anybody that bought a ticket to watch this game, I apologize. I'm sorry. I feel very sorry for you. Not a fan how they're handling this team. They're handling this. I'm sure it's a different way. I think the benching was a bad look for him. Yeah. I think Danny is making the calls. I feel like he has to. There's no conceivable way as a head coach you can, at least maybe it's just me being a naive young person. I just feel like I couldn't roll out a weak lineup, like a garbage lineup. I couldn't bench somebody that gave me their heart and soul last night. I couldn't come up with a reason to. That's the problem. Like, there was other guys who are okay, and it's like, okay, we'll rest the back half of back to back, right? Just have Lowry sit this one out. Lowry didn't need to play today. You know, this was also a more winnable game. So if you plan on tanking, you plan on seeing the young guys, go ahead, start Flip alongside Cody. Why not? You know what I'm saying? We just lost Taylor to injury, so we have somebody stepping up anyways. We decided to go Cody Williams. Cool. All right, let's go ahead. Let's give Flip those Lowry minutes. We don't need it that bad, but don't take Sexton and punish him. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, Clarkson was garbage. He should not have even he didn't play terrible." So I can't just sit there and say, "Ha ha, look, you benched Sexton and now this guy played trash." Because Sexton, when he got thrown to the bench, wasn't Sexton anymore. That's not Colin Sexton. That's not the young bull no more. I don't know who that was, but it wasn't pleasant to watch, and the percentages showed that. We said Cody needs to get in the weight room. He will be better. Absolutely, absolutely. Even if he goes up like 15 pounds, right? Because he was what? He weighed out at 172? Something he weighed out of something crazy, like Imani Bates type crazy low key. Nah, Imani Bates was like 155, which was egregious. But he'll get there. I think this offseason will take that step forward for him. Kessler and Sexton have the best chemistry, but now that's over. Yeah, because can't put them on the court together apparently. You don't think Jason Preston can lock down what me up? This is the wildest thing I've read all day. I've had some interesting conversations today too. Good take on Wemby versus Walker's matchup. I think, to be honest, I'll say this: because the Jazz are tanking this year, we should not hold high expectations for obviously wins and losses, or even most games now seeing this competitive play. But what I will say is I'm going to start looking for specific matchups, like in games when as well. I want to see how Keontae George deals with Stephon Castle, and whoever we start at the 2 guard spot. Probably will be Clarkson again, to be quite honest with you. Or if Castle finds himself in a position against Cody Williams, I want to see how he works against Sohan and Stephon, because those are the type of matchups where it's like I'm no longer watching the entirety of the game and saying, "Oh, how's the offensive flowing?" Because I know it's going to flow like complete buns. I just want to see specific guys in their one-on-one matchups and how they communicate defensively, how offensively do they understand the plays. Does it look like they know what's going on and they're flowing with everything, or does it look like they're kind of deer in the headlights, a little shocked on certain possessions? And if so, how do they react? Do they just stand there still? Do they just camp in the corner? Do they just slide to the block? Or do they try and find some open space and make an extra pass? Like just little stuff like that, I guess. We said, I think this team is going to implode soon. They just had the young players. It wouldn't matter. Wouldn't even watch. But since you have the vets, you have a player on a roller coaster. Yeah, it's going to end bad. Yeah, it's not going well. I'll agree with you on that one. It's going horrendously not well. I'm thinking about how I feel like, what am I here for? And if I can do this, let me read that again. I just botched that whole thing. I apologize. I'm thinking of how I would feel. Oh, it doubles. That's what's throwing me off. All right. I was thinking of how I would feel, like, what the hell am I here for? And what I can do with this. You shuffle me around like I'm nothing, then overplay the worst players. Yeah. Yeah. And after arguably one of his greatest shooting nights of his career, no less, as well. 9 of 11. It doesn't get better. It doesn't get better, from the field than that, honestly. What do we say? Let's say we get Cooper Flag. Who cares? Everyone but him and Lowry. There's something wrong with my screen. I cannot figure out why it's doing that thing. And I'm afraid to reload my page because I don't want to mess up everybody's comments. So if your comments are beneath what I just read, beneath Tayton's, don't think I'm ignoring you. I just can't see it at the moment. Let's say we get Cooper Flag. Who cares? Everyone but him and Lowry will walk. Maybe Kyle will stay. So blessed to get Lowry to re-sign with us, and yet this is what we roll out. Again, losing happens, right? I expect us to lose. I expect us to lose a lot. I also expect us to have meaningful losses or mildly competitive ones. So to see this is just not at all what I was hoping for. Silverline just got to keep harping on that. Cody Williams and Kyle Filipowski, man. Jordan Clarkson and John Collins had decent games overall. I'm not gonna, dramatically boost their trade value or anything like that, because, well, according to reports, John Collins had no trade value and Jordan Clarkson's was very minimal. And maybe at the trade deadline, his specifically will jump. I don't know about John Collins, though, especially for the money that he's getting paid. It's a little rough to sell other teams on, why this is a good idea. But who's to say? You never really know. it's the NBA, man. It's it's wholesome content everywhere you look. 15 to 20. Haven't seen him as a pure point guard that often. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's good for us. But need a basketball line to finish it. Let me know, Lee. Just let me know. It's an app. Ooh. Yeah, just let me know. I just copied and pasted everybody's comments into a new tab so I can see what's going on. Jeff, what's good, my guy? The thing that sucks most is Hendricks won't. He's not going to get that opportunity. The fact that he got robbed from him, he put on size and he was moving so well. Oh my goodness. Side note. The thing that burns me the most about the Taylor Hendricks situation is the fact that not only did he put on that 20 pounds in the offseason, but he was moving well. Like, my biggest concern when you gain more than like 5 to 10 pounds in the offseason is how much will that, number one, affect your athleticism? How much less of a fluid player will you be? And then how much does that change your game overall? And honestly, aside from the fact that he wasn't hitting his shots like that to start the season, defensively, he was everything I wanted and then some. Like, it's really frustrating because out of all the years, like, we had no expectations and stuff like that, just to see him go out there and do stuff, make his mistakes now, he's been robbed of that opportunity. And like, I watched the clip back today and it just made me more and more uneasy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was enough of that. Yeah. What did Sebastian said? It's gonna be a long season. Taylor's giving me the best feelings, and boom, greetings from Uruguay. Hey, nice. Glad to have you here, boss. That made my night. I appreciate that. Bryce finally getting decent outing, so also nice. Yes, that is also true. Bryce is going to be a very unattended to player on this roster. He's not going to get a lot of shine. He's not going to get a lot of appreciation. He's going to get some, baby food minutes here and there. I think he's earned what he's been playing recently. So that 10 to 15 to 17-ish minutes a night, I think that's something we can expect him to play on most nights, bar injury and stuff. But at the same time, I think that this year he'll just be silently making a name for himself or carving out a guaranteed roster spot for himself going forward. That'll be his main objective. And then from there, anything else is the icing on the cake, really, from what I'm seeing so far. We said Spurs has been doing competitive tanking for years when needed. They cover it with drafting Hall of Famers. Yeah. They also don't look absolutely horrid half the time. Like, nobody looks at the Spurs and says, oh yeah, they're bad this year, so we're just going to steamroll them. Nobody ever says that. Like, you might think you're going to win going to San Antonio or them coming to join you, but you always know that there's going to be a certain level of discipline that comes with their roster. It's kind of like playing the Miami Heat. Some nights you're going to get a really, really darn good Miami Heat team that's going to blast you to smithereens. And then you have other nights where it's just like a Miami Heat team where they're just a regular competitive team. They're probably going to lose to you, but if you make too many mistakes, they will make you pay for them. And the Spurs are a team that's definitely been like that in the past. How Jazz fans wanted to draft CP3 during the so-called point guard D-Will draft. It's crazy. Now we know who had the longevity. Yeah, that's true. If I type in a quick, my boy, Hardy got my blood boiling. No, you're good. You're good, Incognito. Just on it, because on my screen, I have this weird error message that's blocking out the bottom half of the chat. So I'm literally trying to copy and paste everybody's stuff into a Google Doc so that I can read everybody's comments and make sure I'm not ignoring anybody or giving the impression that I'm ignoring anybody. Blizzard, you said, do the Jazz players seem happy being in Utah? I have yet to check these guys. Some of these guys did, Lowry re-signing made it seem like a lot of guys did. Colin and the rest of the boys seemed like they did. Even with trade rumors circling around, everybody seemed like to be pretty content with everything that was going on until you have games like this. And then everything goes out the window because definitely doesn't look the way that we originally pictured it. Doesn't look the way that we envisioned it. Real quick, I don't want to steal too much of you guys' time. We're at 34 minutes right now. That's good time. That's good time. We did a quick little review. I mean, there wasn't really much to review except to appreciate some of the young guys, but Nevertheless, all right, so we got the Spurs Thursday. On Halloween, we have the Nuggets on Saturday. We have the Bulls Monday, Bucks Thursday, Spurs again on Saturday. None of these are looking really good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't love our odds in any of these games. Maybe the Bull. Well, the Bulls have been playing pretty decent. Uh, okay, let's put it this way. None of these games are completely out of reach. I would say, ironically enough, the game that might be the most difficult to play, well, both of them will be against the Spurs, just because of the type of matchups that they will present us with, and the fact that they're also a young team that can just go right at us. The Nuggets have been kind of topsy turvy. There's no guarantee which version of the Nuggets comes out. We know what Jokic is going to do. I think he had a triple double tonight, actually. It's on some crazy stuff. But we know what he's going to do. It's just a matter of what his teammates do and what we can, force them to take shot wise. Against the Bulls, they're a toss up because some nights they look really, really good. Overall, this season, they've definitely looked a lot better than I thought they would. I thought that they were objectively a worse team than us. That's not the case. And that's not a guaranteed win. Maybe that might be the easiest one, I guess, to find a W from. And then obviously we have the Bucks, and while the Bucks haven't been playing well, I'm not going to bet against Giannis, especially when we're only playing, Sexton off the bench and keeping our other guys like in some weird minutes. And then of course the Spurs again, which I'm still going to give the Spurs. I give the Spurs a sweep. I'm not going to lie, unless Wimby doesn't play. If Wimby doesn't play, then we can have a conversation about stuff. But other than that, I don't see a world where we are feeling really, really good about ourselves. But 0-10, right? I was generous and I gave us 3-7 in my prediction. I was wrong. I was incorrect. I was foolish. And it happened. Oh, it's that I feel like we need a number one guy, and the other and others develop, and we could be a good team a few years down the road. It's definitely possible. I would love to see some good basketball. Losing basketball can happen. It can still be good basketball. I just want to see something where it's like I want to see something that we can all rally behind, and I haven't seen it yet because they feel like it's not Colin Sexton. They feel like they like Lowry, but there's somebody above Lowry that they need to have. And they're hoping that they can tank and grab Cooper Flag. I personally, call me crazy. At the moment, I reserve judgment to change my opinion later on. But Ace Bailey is looking a little bit more sexy to me. Not gonna lie, I like his game. I like both their games, but out of everybody in the draft class, I think to me personally, Ace Bailey might be my number one temporarily at the moment. Obviously, when more college games get underway, I'll be able to get a more sizable sample size, and I might just do an individual video about the difference between him and Cooper Flag, so that we just share some thoughts and chop it up with the boys. They got a feel for the Nuggets this fall, kind of worse than I expected. Yeah, definitely not at all what I expected. They'll continue to go with these lineups. Yeah, don't see them winning a game for a while if they continue this. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Honestly, if we keep going, like I knew we were going to be bad, but when I said we're going to lose like 25, we're going to win like 20. I said 21 to 26 games. I was kind of hoping that it would be like I would be sweating a little bit at the end of the season, and my prediction would be wrong. And I don't think I'm going to be wrong, because after these 10 games, right, we have the NBA Cup, and then we'll have Mavs, Kings, Clippers, Lakers, Spurs, Knicks, Spurs. Golly, we're playing Spurs. Mad crazy. Oh, this is part of the NBA Cup. Okay. Nuggets, Mavs. Why is it doing like this? Lakers, Thunder, and we have the Trailblazers. And I thought the Trailblazers were going to be cupcakes. They're not cupcakes. They're definitely standing on business, playing competitively this year. They're not going to be a great team, but they are definitely a lot more of a formidable foe instead of a pushover that's just going to, roll over and die as soon as we get to them. Kings, Pistons. Pistons are more respectable this year. Nets are more respectable this year. Cavs are more like there's no cupcake games on the schedule. Even the Hawks aren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. Trae Young may have finally found a ideal backcourt mate and everything like that. The Magic took a step forward. I knew that was going to happen, but nobody's going to talk about it. Paulo Banchero, on a side note, is the least appreciated, number one pick. Nobody glazes him. I should glaze him. I should give him his own video on a Sunday. It's coming, definitely, best believe, because the advancements that he's made are crazy. Maybe we'll beat maybe the Jazz will beat the Hornets. Maybe the Jazz will beat the Hornets, right? That's like it's like 30 games into the season. Well, no, it's not. Actually, yeah, it's like 27, 28 games into the season, but maybe that'll be the one, unless somebody sits out a game or gets injured or something like that, and then we'll just go from there. But I don't know anything else. I don't know where we'll go from there. I'm not gonna lie to you. But then again, the Hornets are also playing really, really good. Their record doesn't really show how good they've been. They got Mann coming off the bench. He has the second most bench points, I think, right now at 55. He said, I actually prefer Bailey. I feel Flag and Lowry might compete for minutes while Bailey will complement Lowry. I agree. I definitely agree. Bailey's different. Kind of pick the Jazz at 19 wins. That's completely reasonable. I'm not going to lie. Maybe that's why I'm not upset. I'm more pissed at the Hendricks injuries. Yeah, that's fair. Doubt we beat the Hornets. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm not gonna lie. We've been seeing some crazy stuff. So us not beating the Hornets, I'd be like, wow, and just kind of stare at the screen for a minute. Yeah. But we covered really all there was to cover. There's nothing too crazy. I'm gonna drop like a regular video probably. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow, if things go really well, I should be able to have a video to you guys. If not, at some point I'll drop I might just wait till the end of this week and drop like a thoughts video on everything that we've had so far. If Walker Kessler continues to be productive the way that he is, he will get an individual video coming up soon for sure, because he's showing the flashes that I was hoping he would show, and then we'll just we'll go from there. You know what I'm saying? But as always, I appreciate you boys tuning in. Hope at the very least that our live stream went a little bit smoother than the game did, and in your hearts, because I don't think it gets worse than that game we just watched. It does. I'm lying. It definitely does, because this game, by all metrics, was definitely a lot closer than we figured. But we'll just see how it shakes out. You know what I'm saying? What you said. Let's all embrace each other in a comforting hug and cry, fellowship. No, real. But yeah, I appreciate you boys. As always, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned. It's going to be a long season, but I will grit my teeth and bear it along with you. With that being said, it's been your boy Wraith Hoops. Thanks for kicking it with me for the better part of an hour. And as always, good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're in the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. It's a long year ahead, boys.